Hi everybody, it's Jama Malmi. Welcome back to another scrapbook process video. Today we're going to be doing a Cricut layout, and I'm going to show you how I created this layout in Cricut Design Space, and then I'm going to show you how to put it together. So I wanted to show you this really beautiful UV coated cardstock. The whole sheet of cardstock comes coated like this, and so I thought it would be fun to make this rainbow layout. So let's go ahead and see how this came together in Cricut Design Space, and then we will come back and assemble. So here we are in Cricut Design Space, and I want to add an image. I'm going to go to Image Sets, and then under Ownership, I'm going to choose Purchase because I want to go to my purchased image sets. I'm going to go to this new Love Each Day collection, which if you click the link down in my description, this is the page you'll get to. This is all of the Close to My Heart Cricut collections that are available through makers like me, and this is the Love Each Day collection. As you can see, there are pre-designed layouts and cards, and today we're going to work with the one with the rainbow, which is right here. This is what it looks like in Design Space when you go to add the image. We're going to pull it into our canvas, but as you can see, it looks very different from my finished layout. This is an 8.5 by 11, but I want it to be 12 by 12 without disturbing the proportions of things. So I'm going to take out the things with words so I don't distort any of the text. But as you can see, that rainbow is pretty narrow and it can stand to be wider. So I'm just going to select all of this and then change it to 12 by 12. And you can see that it stretched the rainbow to be wider, but that still looks good because it looks more like a traditional rainbow to me. So then I can bring the other elements back in and just size them proportionately without skewing them. So put everything back where it was, but we're going to do some treatments to all of this and change things around some more. So I really like that You Are My, and I like the script rainbow, but the photo I have in mind to use, I don't really want to say rainbow. I thought it would be cute to say sunshine. So I'm going to go and search all of my images, and I can still filter by purchased because I don't have the subscription. If you have the subscription, you can search everything. But I have a couple of words here that say sunshine. So I brought them both in to see how they would look. Now this one over here was grouped, so I just brought the sunshine over. I really like that font and I wanted it to stand out more, so you'll see what I do with it. And I brought this one over. I don't like the font quite as much, but I like the way that it fits with You Are My, because as you can see, the S and the H are closer together in this word, and the H kind of sticks up a little bit too much into the cloud. So I'm going to try it out. I'm going to add an offset with the new fabulous offset feature and add that to sunshine. I really like how that looks, and if I were to use this word, I really like how that ended up looking, but I just didn't like how it was tucking in and fitting with the cloud. So I'm going to go ahead and move that out of the way and bring in the other sunshine, and I just think that that fits better. So this is the one I'm going to go ahead and go with. It just kind of, the You Are My just tucks right in there and fits perfectly. So you can also use your own font and type in sunshine and kind of weld it together and do it that way if you don't have these images, but this is what I decided to do. So then I went in and I decided to recolor all of the pieces because I wanted a bright rainbow in the traditional colors to use with the really pretty UV coated cardstock that I have, which, by the way, that UV coated cardstock is a special in March through Close to My Heart, and so it's only available for a few more days and it's on sale. So be sure to go check that out. I have that and all of the other supplies that I use listed down in the description below. So I magically changed all of the colors of the rest of the layout to what I wanted, and I'm adding in my photos. So I really like doing this in Cricut Design Space. I actually just started doing more layout design in Cricut Design Space. I used to do a whole lot, and I've got lots of videos that I will link to at the end, but I haven't done it in a while. So I'm even putting in my photo spots because I wanted to make sure that the size of my photos would work. I was toying between a 5x7 or two 4x6s. So I tried out what two 4x6s would look like. So you can see it would have fit and it would have looked pretty good. It covered up a lot of the rainbow though, and I wanted to show more of that beautiful cardstock. So I decided to go with one 5x7 photo. You could go with a 4x6 as well. And then I decided I wanted You Are My to be in black. And since it's all going to be one color, I only need 2 layers of those clouds instead of the original 4. The 4 layers allowed it to be 3 different colors. So I deleted 2 layers, and then I used the Contour All feature to hide any of the cutouts that were in one of the clouds. So it was just a solid cloud the same size behind there as that layer. So I'll just cut one out in black and one out in white. I took a screenshot of my layout in Design Space and put it up in front of me so I would have a reference, because I didn't really have room on my messy desk to put my computer or my iPad. So I've got that photo that I'm referencing, and then I'm going to start gluing my pieces together. I already glued down the S and the dot of the I so I wouldn't lose them, but I'm going to use my favorite glue, the Barely Art glue. I love that glue. I'll link it down below. It doesn't clog, it comes out super thin, and it's really, really wonderful for using on thin Cricut pieces. I hadn't discovered it yet in all of my past Cricut videos. Like I said, I haven't done one in a while, so this is what I use now and I love it. So I cut the sun background in the UV coated cardstock, and then I used just regular lemonade cardstock in the same color, but the back side, which is a lighter color, a lighter shade of the lemonade, and I use that as the top layer. And then here is my black and white clouds, and I saved those little tiny inner pieces that go to the O, the A, and the R, so I could glue those back in. So be really careful that you don't lose those if you want to use them. It still looks fine if you don't use them and if you do lose them, but I wanted to use them, and so I was very careful with them. And so I'm going to carefully glue that together. They all come together really easily, and even these tiny pieces, they really weren't hard to put together, especially if you've got the right tools. These tweezers are awesome. If you have other tweezers, they probably will work well as well, and having that really skinny tip of the glue just is key for this kind of layout with all of these little pieces to glue together. I decided that the clouds need a little extra pop, so I inked some Lagoon ink around the edges of each of the clouds, and then I gutted the border of my base so I wouldn't waste any of that inside piece, and I left a 1-inch border all the way around, and it ends up being a 1/4 inch that's actually showing, so that's plenty to glue down. I'm going to line it up on my Versamat, which is super handy because it allows me to make sure that my base is lined up, and then all of those little measuring guides help you line up this top layer as well. And you'll see me using a T-square ruler later on to help me line things up. This Versamat is just, it is one of my must-have tools in my craft room. You guys have seen me use it before on all my layouts if you watch my channel. So I have the Perfectly Imperfect stamp set, which I don't use nearly enough. It is a wonderful stamp set. You guys know I love my splatters, especially with a shimmer brush. I decided that I'm going to do a little bit of controlled splattering so I don't get too carried away, and I created some splatters with the stamps. I'm just using a black ink pad and a couple of the stamps that have splatters from that Perfectly Imperfect stamp set. And it's still easy to get a little carried away with the stamps. I thought as I was watching this back, I'm like, okay, let's go ahead and stop here. Nope, stop. But I kept going. But it's okay because a lot of it gets covered up with clouds and stuff. So I end up liking it in the end. But as I'm watching, I'm like, nope, it looked good. Go ahead and stop. So just be careful. It's still easy to get carried away, even if it stamps. So I used that same glue on the rainbow, and it works really well. And I do also like that you can kind of slide it into place a little bit since it's a wet glue. But I could sort of see the bead of glue through the top of the cardstock. So having that wet bead of glue, it buckles a little bit on the other side. So for the rest of the arches, I decided just to use my tape runner so that I wouldn't have that issue. If that doesn't bother you, then go for it. The liquid glue is easier to adhere and line up, but this is what I decided to do for the rest of them. It's a little bit cumbersome, especially with this big ATG, but a smaller tape runner would work well as well. The larger arches are also a little bit cumbersome to put down just because they're so floppy. But as you get to the smaller arches, it gets a little easier. I lined it up at the bottom of the white piece so that it could hang down into the black border a little bit if needed. So you can see I was a little bit off on the left, but the clouds will cover that up, so it's not a big deal. So here we go. I'm going to start lining up all of my clouds and pulling everything in place. It comes together so easy since I've already got everything all designed and I just need to reference that photo that I have printed. I did keep in mind while I was designing it that I can cut some of the clouds that are going to be tucked behind and use them in other places. So that's why I only did a couple of extra clouds, but we'll actually have like 4 extra clouds. We'll line up that "You Are My" just in the right place so that it tucks behind sunshine perfectly. Now using this glue on the back of here, you couldn't see the buckling. I'm not sure why it did it on that other cardstock. This is also 2 layers, but sometimes I have that problem and sometimes I don't. So you can just try it out with what you have, but we're going to line this up, and then this is where I'm also going to bring in my T-square ruler, and this Versamat comes in super handy again because I can just line everything up. The T-square catches the edge of the Versamat really easily and it just works perfectly. So we're just going to line that up and push it down. I'm going to put a couple of ink pads on it to hold it down. And now we're nearly done. We're just going to trim off this cloud and use it as another layer of a cloud on there. By the way, if you're interested in this Design Space file, I share it with all of my Cricut customers if you purchase this Cricut collection from me. So I do have my Cricut affiliate link down below. You'll purchase it from there. It goes through Cricut's website and gets automatically added to your Design Space account so that you have access to it. So comment below or message me to let me know if you have purchased the collection. It's called the Love Each Day collection, and that way I know you've purchased because I don't get a notification right away and I can share my files with you. So I'm going to add a few finishing touches with glitter gems. These are clear gems with silver glitter pieces in them. They are just lovely because I just can't have a layout without glitter, even with all that shine. Isn't that fabulous? So remember, the UV coated cardstock is on sale just a few more days till the end of March, and all of the rest of the cardstock is on sale as well. If you're interested in more Cricut tutorials and technique tutorials, then you might be interested in the Creative Design Team's membership. That is also only open to new members for a few more days till March 31st. And we have Cricut tutorials as well as tons of other paper crafting tutorials, handouts for everything. I've got that linked down below as well. I've added a couple other Cricut videos I think you might enjoy. Thanks so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't. Have a great day.